Watch The Casey Waters Show, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on URTV. To get interesting, eccentric, philosophical presentations and artwork by Judson Laird, which is manipulated using interesting graphic art techniques.
I should open a studio and call it Rough Mix Studios. There we go. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Oh, I'm here. I find it hot in here. Are you hot in here?
I seem to be placed just right so that the fan is actually getting me.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem to be a little bit warm in here today. I guess that's why you're not using the
that would be
the 750 watt spotlight to do the molecule.
True.
Yes.
Ah, wait a minute.
Nope, there we are.
You can be on TV too.
Ah, that's a new exciting experience for me.
Yes. So we're here.
Yeah, it is still comparatively new.
Let's see. Okay, I'm
Straighten
gonna
up the
do
old
something. I'm gonna. Do you think we should run background or should we just take a break? We just had a whole lot.
Yeah, we just had a whole lot. I'd say that's up to you. Depends on what you have to run for background. What do we got?
I just, even I get tired of seeing all that stuff just vibrating. The cheapness of the chroma key.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it just has little sparkly edges all over it and stuff so much that I sometimes weary of it all.
Okay, fair enough. I have yet to tire of cheap chroma keys, so yeah.
Well,
I think that's a bit of a ways off myself.
I'm talking about like the line around us and the area that doesn't quite key in and stuff like that. Doesn't bother you?
Yeah.
No?
It's part of the charm, I think.
I see. It
is. I mean, this is fly by the seat of your pants, do it yourself television. So
yes,
that's part of the charm, I believe.
Uh-huh.
By and large.
Do you think I could be getting hot air also out of that room there?
I don't know.
Do you suppose if I went and begged Jonathan to turn the air conditioner up, it would do any good?
I don't know. I was hearing him having discussion with Pat when I was handing in the Mount Dungeon episode about how they have problems with their air conditioning. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's an issue at the moment. I don't think the AC's doing quite what it should around these parts. So.
Oh my.
I do believe that's part of the problem.
Well, that explains.
Getting a little bit of a breeze though. Maybe if you just turn the fan at you just a little bit more or something, that might help.
I've got it kind of on me, but I'm in the.
You got the lab coat going on. And all
I might have to come out of the lab coat. Oh no, I think so.
I wouldn't know what to do.
I know. How can we have a mad scientist with no lab coat? Oh goodness. All right, I'll tell you what.
Just starting a new trend in style, I guess.
Well. Did you taste that or not?
Yeah.
Is it steeped sufficiently?
I'd say so. It's not puny.
Is it not? Okay.
It's not.
Well, we don't want no puny tea.
Don't want no puny tea.
No puny tea at my tea party. No. All right. Well, let's see. You have a very loud microphone.
Do I?
Well, you should.
Does this mean I should talk more quietly?
No.
Okay.
Just enjoy yourself. I'm just telling you that because I'm going to run to the other room and talk to Jonathan about the air and take this lab coat off and.
So I should just enjoy myself with the microphone.
You have any
anytime.
rant? You have a rant? You have anything to announce?
I'm not feeling very ranty today.
Did you hear my rant earlier? It was very short and concise.
I took off, went to Ingles to buy more cat food because we have one can left and we have a very large cat. So I missed. I guess
keep it that way.
Well, I mean, he's not even like he's fat. He's just big.
Okay.
I mean, he's probably the longest cat I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And
Is
on
he
top
any
of that,
particular brand of cat?
he's just a big, large black hunter of a cat.
Okay.
You know, he's really long and he's not skinny either. So he's just.
You should have brought the cat. You
massive.
should bring the cat someday. Does he do well with going out, or does he freak?
I don't know.
Is he a live inside all the time cat?
He is now, but
He's a vicious hunter.
When he was a kitten, when he was younger, we let him go outside. The story is Doris and I had 2 cats and a Chihuahua at the time. Since then, all the animals we had when we met have now passed away. But this tiny little half-starved black kitten wandered up to us at a gas station and was meow, and it was very personable. He was very personable, and he was like very pathetic, like skinny, and
he was talking to you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he pulled off the charm thing. And he seemed all like he was kind of skinny, so he seemed underfed, and he was just really, really friendly. So we brought him home. And, it was one of these, maybe we can find a home for him type thing, Doris was saying. So, among other things, we somehow never quite got around to naming him because we hadn't quite officially made him our cat for a while, even though we had brought him home. And so we'd kind of let him go outside, wander the yard and everything, and he grew into an enormous cat that killed every bird and rodent within a good 100-foot radius of our house.
Yeah.
Although a neighborhood stray, about after a year of that, a neighborhood stray that I was fond of, but this neighborhood stray and he had become mortal enemies, fighting on the porch all the time and the like. But the neighborhood stray got hit by a car, and I buried him in my backyard. And after that, I just scooped up little black kitty, took him inside, and I haven't let him out since.
And so his name is Little Black Kitty.
Little Black Kitty. It's just that so many cats have either disappeared or been hit by cars in the neighborhood that I live in, that I'm quite certain that if I had let him go outside, he'd probably be dead by now. So, and I feel awful, like when I see him just at the window staring, because I know he just wants to go outside and be crazy. I can feel it, but.
Well, on behalf of the wildlife, I want to thank you on behalf of the wildlife of the neighborhood.
Yeah. No, they're not words. He was a weapon of mass destruction. He truly was. Well, actually, we did try to get a cat harness and let him outside, and I have no illusions about you can't walk a cat. But I was walking behind him, holding on to the thing, just letting him out in the yard, letting him, wander from thing to sniff, and I wasn't going to let him leave the yard. And he found a heap of dirt that he proceeded to try and roll in, and just flop around. And as he was attempting to flop, he managed to just roll right out of the harness. And he was out of the thing. It was amazing. And he didn't get far because he realized he was out. He ran 15 feet and stopped and started eating some grass. So I just scooped him up and brought him back inside. So I have no idea how he would respond to being brought in here.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe you could get like a giant plastic ball and put him in it, and paint like yellow and black stripes on it so that the cars would see him.
I don't know how I could see that freaking him out. I don't know. He's a bit of a crazy cat. He's very personable with people, but he kind of is a nut job.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to tell you my rant earlier for the day was.
Please tell.
Was simply that in times of economic collapse, that it stands to reason that you've heard they're rationing rice.
Where? Here?
Sam's Club.
Sam's Club is rationing rice now?
Sam's Club has put a ceiling on rice that individuals can buy. They're not rationing to restaurants, but they're rationing to individuals. And it's a real high ceiling. It's like, I don't know if they're 50-pound bags or something, but they're doing this just in case of hoarding. Okay.
I hear that the price of rice internationally quadrupled in the past year.
Right.
That's what I've heard.
Right. So anyway, my rant is simply that in times of economic collapse, it stands to reason that the poor would go down first. But I was suggesting that the rich people pay attention because it's actually the poor who support them.
Yeah.
And
the extent of their paying attention is, I think some of the rich people have probably, lost a little bit of money in the stock market, and some of them are probably impacted by the falling dollar. So I think that level of attention is going to be paid.
I'm wondering here's what I'm thinking. At some point in the not too awfully distant future, I somehow suspect that people are going to notice that money is just printed up on paper, and that's really all it is, and they just print more, and it only works because everybody buys into it. And just one day say, hey, this is all just nothing. Particularly the poor people. And when you get when you get it so that 90% of the people are poor, then and they don't have any money, then suddenly what good is money? All money is what keeps them poor. You see what I mean? So that's
well, you make comments about revolution every once in a while, and personally, I think a revolution in this country is a bad idea. Because I think it would start a firestorm that could spiral out of control if people
could be the shot heard around the world, couldn't
it? If people could actually get off their butts and start doing anything,
good cup of tea.
What I'm saying is that I'm kind of afraid that as more and more people are faced with the prospect of being less prosperous than their parents and grandparents,
right?
While at the same time we have a culture that in a lot of ways does encourage sort of a sense of entitlement and encourages you to want it all. And at the same time, while it's getting harder and harder to just survive, I kind of think that there's a critical mass. We hit a critical mass of people that not only can no longer afford to eat, but can't afford to pay their cable bill, and like the one great opiate of dumbing people down, which is television, even though I have to say I kind of like television, but it kind of does keep people staring at one thing as opposed to looking at the world around them. Sometimes.
That's right. Look into the screen. Dumb down. Look into the screen. Forget to think. Stop thinking. Let us amuse you. Don't you?
Or if you don't feel like watching us,
you'll feel better now when you're down to your last bag of rice. We'll still be here to amuse you. Who needs to eat? And all you people on food stamps, the fact that food is twice as expensive as it was last year doesn't mean you're getting half as much food stamps. That just means times are changing. But hey, we're here to entertain you. Would you like me to sing you a song?
Really
Once
want.
I lived the life of a millionaire. Spent all my money, did not care. Lost all my friends, took all my friends out for a good time. I forgot the words. Bought bootleg whiskey, champagne and wine. Then I began to sink so low. Lost all my good friends, I had no place to go. If I get my hands on $1 again, well, I'm gonna hold on to it till that eagle grins. Na 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 na. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. In your pocket, not one penny. And as for friends, well, you don't have any. When you finally get yourself back on your feet again, well, everybody wants to be your long-lost friend. Seems mighty strange, without a doubt, how nobody knows you. Oh, nobody knows you. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. Ah. Did you like that song?
That was brilliant.
All right. Seems like I was going to... What?
No, I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking that I do think that the people at the top should pay more attention, because you can see the potential in America for enough people to suddenly be at the point where they've got nothing else to lose because they've already lost everything. Certainly lost the promise of America, and that's when I think things can get really scary.
That's
and I
right.
don't want to see it. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see it get there yet.
Well, we're on the brink of that. We've got one fella campaigning under a change you can believe in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. I don't mean that's good. I agree that that's good. I hope that that's real, and I hope that he's not in the pockets of the same people that everybody's in the pocket of.
Or even if Barack Obama were to become president, there's the potential for him to just sort of bring sort of an air of the whole new morning in America thing. Because, I don't like Reagan.
It's a new morning in America.
Yeah, new morning in America. Now let me just, going into a little bit of psychology here for a minute. When Reagan took the presidency, there were enough people that were optimistic about him becoming president. I mean, I'm not entering into a discussion about how good or bad a President Reagan was, but the fact of the matter is, he was charismatic, and he was good at getting people behind him, and it seemed like him just taking power for a little while made things a little bit better, just because people felt better about things.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a good administrative head as a figurehead, and he was an experienced actor, and he could read a script, and he had a whole lifetime of experience in reading a script, and in portraying a character, and in also in his role as the head of the Screen Actors Guild and things like that. Being sort of a chief muggity-wump dude and what have you. So he had a lot of the talents necessary for the job.
Oh, no, yeah, Reagan was exceptionally good at being presidential.
Right.
Any discussion to his policies aside.
They said dust did not stick to that man.
Nope. Gosh, looking back, I mean, doesn't W just make Reagan look really good right now?
Well, actually, it's... I really can't think of any president in history that W doesn't make look good in comparison. However, if you consider that Reagan basically worked for W's granddaddy, et cetera, et cetera, it's really all the same. And we talk about, and this is, I may as well sit and rant on this. We talk about this a lot about. We talk about the who's in office, and the stuff and all, and now we've been saying, we have a regime, we have the son of a president, and now and you talk about political dynasties. Well, the political dynasty, huh?
I don't like them.
Oh, I don't like them either, and that is a whole lot to do with why we separated from England to begin with. We don't believe in dynasties and stuff. That ain't the American way. The American way of I say it ain't the American way. Well, gee, it does seem to be the American way.
I don't think it's the American way either. I mean,
well, it's not what a lot of us think. We're sort of taught or believed that was the American way anyway. But the fact is that we've been under a dynasty more than we think, because so many of the people that have been in the presidency have been proxies to the same dynasty. And the dynasty that I refer to currently is the one that goes back to Bush's grandfather. Now, what was his name? Prescott Bush. Yes. Now we have a dynasty. If you'll look at Prescott Bush, I used to think that Richard Nixon was the guy behind most of it. I always said that Ronald Reagan in the House was just an extension of Richard Nixon in the House. And when Ronald Reagan was in the House, everybody says, well, he's just an actor. I want to know who's writing the script. Now, you probably heard that. Well, I heard that 100 times while Reagan was in the office. Who's writing the script? Well, I always said, well, it's pretty obvious who's writing the script. It's Richard Nixon, because he had all of Richard Nixon's guys working for him, so I assumed that they just delivered the script from Nixon. Well, then I find out, lo and behold, that the people that I thought were working for Nixon, like the first President Bush, was he a vice? Well, no, he worked for Nixon under Nixon as head of the CIA or something.
Actually,
didn't
he was head of the CIA under Carter.
Under Carter, okay, but he worked. What did he do under Nixon?
I don't remember.
Okay, anyway, so here's the story. That explains a lot. Oh my God. Under Carter. Okay, anyway, I can't even get off on that one. It turns out that after what is the guy's name that was head of the FBI forever?
Hoover? J. Edgar Hoover?
J. Edgar Hoover.
Mm-hmm.
J. Edgar Hoover closed down, and I'll say Bush's name again. Prescott closed down the bank that Prescott Bush was running because they were a Nazi money laundering operation, and busted Prescott Bush and said, no, you can't do that, and we're taking your bank away from you because you're aiding and abetting our enemy, the Nazis. And that severed Prescott Bush's ties with Hitler, although Prescott had financed the building of the first Nazi headquarters and stuff like that. At that point he had to sever his ties with Hitler, and it took him 4 years. 4 years after severing ties with Hitler, he found himself a new, basically unknown politician to start backing, and that was Richard Nixon. Later, he was representative.
You're whistling.
Mm-hmm. He was representative, right? House of Representatives.
I don't remember.
And so all these things that for all those years, could you lift that? So for all these things that for all those years I thought was Nixon's doing, I find out I thought Reagan was a proxy for Nixon. No, Nixon was working for the Bush family. Mm-hmm. He was working for Prescott Bush, and so has been the vast majority of everybody in the office of the president. I guess since Eisenhower. I don't know if Eisenhower. I always felt like Eisenhower was on the up and up. There, good. Please come in. Would you? Are you taking exception to something we're saying?
No, I'm debating internally how much I should get involved.
Say your piece, Jonathan.
We'll do. Here, I'll give you some mic.
Oh, you want to give me the microphone?
That's it right there.
I don't want to interrupt, but I do want a little bit of tea.
Oh, please.
I always think it's funny when I hear people complain about the Kennedys who are Bush supporters, and I just say to them, Bush is just
you have to
Great
pour very
design
carefully.
on that one, yeah.
yeah.
It's not a good design for
Now
a
that's
That's all I can say is the design is not good. You pour it.
I have made a mess.
It's
that is
it's okay.
bad
Damn,
teapot.
that one is hot.
Yeah, that was.
Sorry, man. It's hot. It was hot. It was hot. I'm pretty sure that falls under appropriate use. Sorry.
Well, we have this one as well.
not. Your
And they
kids are hearing
both
worse.
have them. Both of them have handles on them.
They're hearing worse from their bus drivers. Don't worry.
Okay. Whew. Did that burn you?
Golly gee, that's smarts.
Right. Okay. I remember.
Gee whiz.
I remember when I was in high school, my bus driver was just going on a rant that really had like all the boys at the front half of the bus
Howling.
like howling, but he was going on about like you see all these fat women around with kids. And he was basically, saying who has sex with them, except he wasn't using the word having sex.
Who's bothering these children?
Yeah, well, he was throwing the F word around. It's like, where do all these kids of fat women come from, kind of thing. I mean, it was hopefully inappropriate rant on the part of my bus driver, but I was 14 and it was hysterical.
You learned something on that day, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I didn't even learn. It was just
School
funny.
was supposed to be educational.
So the
It
real
was
the
funny.
real teacher in our society is the bus
drivers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, parents, your kids have heard worse. Sorry.
Everything I've ever learned in life, I learned
From a bus driver.
from my bus drivers.
Fonts of knowledge.
Well, now, what was making you want to get involved in the conversation?
I just want to sit in here and listen. I'm tired of sitting there
we are.
staring at the television. I'm like, I'll just walk back there.
Oh,
Here we are.
I'll just go back there and sit down.
okay. Well, we need some company. I'm glad you did. Let's
Yes.
see if I can.
Remember.
I don't know if I can make this any wider.
Well, it's funny to me because a lot of people, you start talking about our current president's grandfather being a Nazi,
Yeah.
and probably still it was to his death, and people get like really upset, like there's no way, it's a conspiracy. It's a fact.
Oh yeah.
You can look it up. It's a fact.
Right.
He owned a bank.
Right.
He
J.
was
Edgar
shut down.
Hoover took it away
Yeah,
from
he
him
was shut down by the FBI for laundering money
for the Nazis. Right. Exactly. That was.
It's a fact. It's not a conspiracy.
That was
It's
the-
not It's not dirt thrown on the Bush's name. You couldn't even if you threw dirt on their name, you wouldn't be able to see it. Any additional dirt you threw upon that name would not be noticeable to a person of a certain amount of intellect. And
So, yeah.
it's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah. And
They're Nazis. They're Nazis. It's a fact.
right. And basically, since they put a bullet in Kennedy's head and took over the power of the country, they've been running the show for the vast majority of everything. They've been right on top of it.
Well,
It's been their game.
Well, I was thinking before. I was listening to you talk.